You know, salespeople always come up to me and ask me about specific selling situations. For example, when a prospect says this, what should I say? Or if they're resistant at the close, what should I do? The reason we're facing these challenges is because we're missing out on the basic principles in the very beginning of the sales conversation. If you were to build a house without the foundation, the house will not be solid. It won't have a solid foundation and it will never last. So, in this video, I'm going to share the five critical basic principles of selling. And I'd like to ask you a favor. If you found some value in what I'm going to share with you in this video, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Number one, follow the data. The problem with sales training is there's so much information out there and it's based on some guru's magic formula or instinct, or maybe they had some selling success. So they share what they think is the secret to their success. But the problem is, what got one person to be successful in a particular situation doesn't necessarily work in other situations. For example, the relationship salesperson. They built strong relationships in their career, and so they tell people it's all about building relationships. You've got to get out there and build relationships. In today's world of selling, data shows relationship salespeople, on average, are far less successful than top performers. So what we want to do is we want to follow the data. We have so much more data on what works as opposed to what doesn't work. So when you follow an approach, make sure it's based on data and it's really what works in today's marketplace. Number two, show insight at the beginning of the sales conversation. It doesn't mean educate your prospects. We're not here to educate prospects because your prospects are your prospects and they are not your clients yet. You can educate clients. With prospects, you need to show enough insight up front at the beginning of the selling situation, and you want to trigger this thought. This person is worth my time to talk to. When you get an email from a salesperson that says, I'd love to learn more about your business so I can help you, are you going to be inspired to make an appointment? Of course not, because there's no insight up front, and if we're starting our conversation with that fancy pitch about a product or service, there's also no insight. I mean, you could teach a monkey to do that. What we need to do is we need to demonstrate real insight. You need to show real insight and value up front and clearly demonstrate you know what you're talking about. This will intrigue the prospect into that conversation. Number three, drop the manipulative persuasion. Data shows that great selling isn't about manipulative persuasion. This old school idea says that you can somehow manipulate your prospect into agreeing with what you're saying as a result of some fancy use of your language. The reality is, if you're selling something that is useful to people who have money, your prospects are going to be smart, they're going to be savvy, they would have heard all of the persuasive arguments out there. Okay? And that's not what they need. They need an expert who can take them through a conversation to help them determine and help you determine whether there's actually a fit. Unfortunately, a lot of salespeople are doing it, whether they know it or not. Maybe they're still asking a couple of probing questions up front, but then they go right into the persuasion pitch. It's not going to work in today's world of selling. Your prospects are going to feel a lot of pressure, and the walls are going to go up, and they will push back. Number four, no more basic features and benefits. This idea we need to demonstrate the feature of what we're offering and share the benefit that it has for our prospects. But you see, the reality is your prospects don't care about your features. They don't need your benefits. What they need are solutions to their problems, solutions to their challenges. So when we drop the persuasion, we drop those features and benefits, and instead of that, we focus on determining whether the prospect is a fit and understanding what challenges they're facing that maybe you can solve. And then your presentation is simply about demonstrating that you can actually solve those problems. Number five, making sure everybody understands the next step. This is one of the most critical basics of selling, yet so many salespeople simply just miss this. Have you ever been in a selling situation when everything was going well and the prospect says, "Call me back next week," and then you get excited, and then next week you call them, they don't answer you, you send them an email, they don't respond, and then you start thinking, maybe I lost this deal. What happened? Frustrating situations that we've all experienced, right? The mistake was not that we were doing something wrong in the follow up, is that we got ourselves into following up incorrectly in the first place. We need to establish clear next steps when dealing with a prospect. So when a prospect says, "Follow up with me next week," instead of saying, "Sure, no problem," you say something like, "I appreciate, I really appreciate that. Would it make sense to put it in our calendar to avoid the back and forth so we can discuss what the next steps are going to be? Would that be okay with you?" See, now you're on the calendar and there's a scheduled next step. So always have a clear and scheduled next step. So these are the five critical basic principles of selling. And if you got some value out of this video, please give it a thumbs up or a like because it really helps me out and the YouTube algorithm. And remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel because I shoot these videos 3 times a week to help you increase your selling skills and your techniques.